Hey everybody, and this is War. Today's video is going to be dealing with the inventory like a button so that it's a lot easier to work with. I never liked the find objects of type and things like that if there was some problems and stuff. So, with any case, and further ado, I believe that we've got something going on that's going to be kind of nice. It's the next stage of updates anyway, and this video will deal with nothing but the buttons right here. This video will do nothing but the buttons. Now, in the other video dealing with the whole object orientated like thingy bobber, I showed you guys a concept using protected static fields for referencing and things like that. Well, today is going to be like that. And what I mean by it is using an inherited class to automatically already have the references that you need, so they don't have to find or look up anything. Now, today's video will be discussing the Splott class and how we use player values to already have this done. Okay, so in any case, if you didn't miss, the weapon component already has stuff assigned to it. Slots equals this, which we inherit from our player's values class. That is how we get this variable, because we have an interface of slots. We use an interface to get into this class and deal with it. We don't do no crazy inheritance or daisy ball chain. We just do that because in our player script itself, we automatically have to just launch out and do certain things from each slot, which, in any case, it is what it is. Some like it, some hate it. But hey, you can't have everything privately owned by everything else. So, for the most part, in our old script and everything, this would be a mono behavior. This button right here gets instantiated and you go and get your spawn weapon. Okay? Well, for the most part, it happens that way. Alright? It just happens that way. So we use an action still, which if it's not null, it pushes it. If we have something, then it's broken. We get an error. That's fine. We still use get weapon, get despawn, but in our menu thing, menu to player right here, this one right here, we used to use player container dot player slots. Okay, which was fine and everything, but it kind of sucked because we had to make sure the container was always working and all blah 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 blah. It sucks. I don't like it. So if S was not null, then we would do this. Okay? But look, we're going slots. If it's not null, then we do this stuff. If it's null, then we use find object to type, game controller, get player dot get slot, bleh. Okay? For the most part, this will never execute because of this structure here. S.slots, we're not looking this up anymore. We actually have a direct reference. Now, and what do I mean by a direct reference? Well, it's exactly what we did in the other video. You see this player values? This is inherited. See, the player spawns into the game first, right? Well, the player will initialize everything that there is about it, because once the soldier spawns, guess what? Everything gets instantiated into memory, and the first thing that gets instantiated is our slots. Our weapon camera also fills in its stuff. Health display also displays, so it's already done. So by the time this menu pops up, this variable's already been done. Okay, it's already in there. We don't have to do no lookups or anything else. And because it's static, everyone will have access to this one that inherits from player values. It will have access to this automatically. We don't have to fiddle around with any silly bobber, jigger, whatevers. Okay? We don't have to deal with finding it or anything else. I keep this code in right here, but like I said, debug.log, we're going to do log error, okay, something has gone wrong and you have a reference problem in your button slot 1. And that's how we deal with that. If this message ever pops up, we know that there's a serious problem. It will still work and everything because we haven't got rid of this code right here to work, to get player.get slots. We will later on, but it's kind of like a try catch thing. You try it, it catches, blah blah. Which down here we also do our old code. We'll be deleting that. Okay, and that's awesome. It's our else. Destruction is made easier. So when it comes to the slot thingy, this has just become so much easier because of our static inherited class. So it automatically just grabs a hold of what we need. So for the most part, our button is beautiful when it comes to just inheriting and doing stuff. So let's look at the slot thing. It gets passed in here, okay, that's cool, but it's in the player values. So what happens when this player dies? Well, that's a good question. That's actually been taken care of by this right here, but we do need to have a bool value for if we're dead. Now there's two ways to deal with when we're dead. A, we actually just tell or well, I haven't really written the code for when we're dead, but we shouldn't be able to hit the buttons if we're dead, okay? And if you want the equipped items and everything else, you'll have to reapply them, you know, push the buttons and all that. But that's a little bit later on down the path anyway, because when they die, this variable goes to null, but the player itself doesn't exactly have to die, okay? This script never dies, okay? The thing that dies is our character controller. So for the most part, we can always take our character controller and have it drop the weapon transform and then reapply it later. Okay, like in our scripting and everything else, we can have it just reapply. But we also have to do various other checks, like if we change characters, if we only have one type of character we can be like the whole time. It just all depends on your game, and there's really no like universal way of dealing with that. What I am thinking about is having these buttons go into an array And when we spawn in our character, I have it launch the array to equip all the weapons. You know, like weapon slot 1, blah blah blah, this, that, and everything else. That way, when our character controller dies, it just reapplies the weapons when it gets to the point that it needs anyway. Which wouldn't be that hard, because we've got a hard reference to it anyway. Okay, we've got a reference to it, which is the melee. So when it comes to melee 1, we can have it spawn in the weapon anyway. That's all it needs to do, is launch, spawn, and return it. Which, for the most part, we could probably do, like, probably right now, actually. Because I believe spawn happens spawn and then get weapon. Spawn actually doesn't return anything in there, right? Gun does not equal null. Oh yeah, we do this. And then we parent it to the weapon transform. Oh yeah, we could definitely do a cycle to just get the weapons and go. That will probably be in the next video, because I want to test it out and everything else. Because the 2 soldier thing, because I have to code in how to do all the variable stuff and things like that. Like, see, if I just call this setup player right here and everything, it will mess up because it runs these cycles. I need a separate function that respawns. Controller equals this, weapon transform, blah blah blah. Okay, because this is already done. Okay, this part right here, this is already done. Okay, the slots already done. Player setup, pretty much already done. Player script, yeah. See, then I would get double the updates and stuff like that. It would be really, really bad for us. And our health display. Okay, that's the reason why you have to be careful on certain, that kind of stuff. Because this script doesn't get attached to the player. It might be easier to deal with it, then you come up to the problem of garbage collection. Okay. Do you delete this script, or do you have this script actually do something? Like, when I die, I can always send a message to this script to go, hey, this is null, do this. Okay? So, not that big of a deal. But for any mess, I think this video has gone by long enough, and I've already explained the problems that you can run into, and I will be doing probably a video on that later on how to solve those. But for the most part, that should get you up and running. And to be honest with you, if you were going to do something like that anyway, my suggestion is just have them do a complete reload of the level that you're in and everything. Just have them do a reload. A lot of games will do that anyway. Just have it do a complete reload of that level that you're in. Parse in the save data that you need, like, hey, what kind of items they have, stuff like that. That way they don't have to deal with reinstantiating something, or, you know, doing all these complex operations that don't need to happen, when they can just cheapen out and just reload the level. Like, okay, reload you from the last checkpoint, give you all your items back, and that's pretty much it. Or the best part of it is, reload the level, give you all the items that you had previously at the checkpoint. So all those new items that you just found, like a rare item or something, can be just gone, which would kind of suck. So peace out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thanks for watching, and I will try to drop you guys another video in a short bit. I've got some bracelets that I want to make out of paracord and things, so I want to do that. But take care, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video, because I enjoy making them and all that stuff. If you did not listen to my little blog thing, drop over there, and I will and it discusses what kind of changes that I'm making for the future of the channel. What I've been up to, because there were some crazy storms and everything else, knocked out internet and all that stuff. I had to end up loading a video from the freaking phone, man. How about that? So my data is gonna suck for a little bit. But peace out. This war over and out.